Boom. What is going on, everybody? Happy Thursday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today, I don't recall if I've reviewed a beer from this brewery yet. I know I've drank a few from this brewery before, but I don't know if I've actually done one for review. But today, we're going to be taking a look at another IPA. I know 2 IPAs in a row, but oh well, whatever. Because we got some juicy bits coming up in rotation from WeldWerks Beer Co. Or Brewing Company, whatever you want to call them. I know it's so many different freaking names and shit. But yeah, we got some juicy bits coming in. It's like a nice juicy IPA with, let's see, Citra, Mosaic, and El Dorado hops. So I'm expecting a nice kind of just juice bomb in my face, which sounds delicious for this time of day. And this guy comes out at a whopping 6.7% ABV. So yeah, I would say that's fairly sessionable, in my opinion at least. It's a nice kind of start to beer drinking for the day. So without further ado, let's crack this guy open and see what we're getting off the smell, because I'm really curious about this one. So let's see. I'm expecting like really big hints of like mango, pineapple, just crazy tropical fruit notes. Exactly what I'm getting right there on the nose. Maybe getting like kind of like an orange grapefruit on the smell as well. Definitely know there's going to be citrus in there just because they're Citra, but definitely notes of mango, pineapple are coming through pretty nice. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I think there might be a little bit of a haze to this one. I'm not expecting like a super crazy haze to it. But yeah, it smells absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's pour it. We're drinking out of my Grim Army pint glass this afternoon just because. And let's see how this guy pours. Okay, so it's actually hazier than I thought it would be, which is nice. Very nice. Look at that. I feel like there's not really going to be much of an oily mouthfeel to this one just because they try to make this one an actual just straight juice bomb, which I'm all for. And look at that. Okay, there's a very nice haze to it actually, but look at that. It's a nice kind of orange kind of color complexion to it. A little bit of like a kind of like a slightly yellowish white head to it. Still getting lots of notes of like, okay, more grapefruit is actually coming through on the nose more. Maybe they used a little bit more Citra than the rest of them, but yeah, I'm expecting a nice balance of tropical fruit, citrus, and then like the El Dorado and the Mosaic are going to bring in like a nice little pininess in there as well. So to make it an absolutely delicious sessionable IPA. So without further ado, let's have a sip of this guy. Cheers, everybody. Oh yeah, very, very bright on like the citrus. I'm getting more of like a pineapple coming through instead of a mango. Kind of gives me like a little bit of like a mangoey sweetness coming at the end, kind of creating like a little bit of like a mix between a mango and like a malty kind of sweetness. Definitely very, very forward on like the piney kind of resiny flavors as well. But overall, yeah, that's a delicious one. Very, very nice. And I think this is one of like their namesake IPAs too as well. Just because WeldWerks is pretty well known without... They have 2 locations, one in Greeley, Colorado, and I believe they have another location where was it? Greeley, and then they have one in Colorado Springs coming soon. So right now, it's only the Greeley, Colorado location they have available, which is their tap room and production facility. But they have a tap room coming in Colorado Springs, so that's really cool. If you're in the Colorado Springs area, you might be able to get your hands on some WeldWerks over there. So that sounds a really nice situation. But yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. So before we get into what Untappd has to say about this one and kind of trying to see what the description of this one is, let's talk about the brewery really quick, because they have a nice, cool story, I think, to it. They started back in 2009. It was a bunch of like a roster of about 24 different people who came together once a month, and kind of they're all home brewers. So they came together, talked, tried each other's beer, and one thing led to another. And started in their garage, and then they went to the 2014 Big Beers, Belgians, and Barley Wines Festival, and in Vail, Colorado, which it's like a really big homebrew competition. And they kind of started from there, had the conversations. Neil, the owner of, co-founder and head brewer of WeldWerks, won a medal there. So then they decided that they really enjoy their stuff, and then in 2014, I believe it was around that time. Oh no, it was still in 2014, depending on when it happened in 2014, but probably around 2015. And because it was 11 months later, they their first beers were poured for WeldWerks Brewing in Greeley, Colorado. So it's really nice to have that really token kind of start for breweries when it comes to, it was a bunch of people that were home brewers, and then they all got together once a month, tried each other's beer, shoot the shit, all that kind of situation, and then eventually teamed up with somebody, or eventually kind of went into opening up a brewery. And I think that's a great story and a kind of great motivation for any home brewer out there that is looking for possibly just trying out making stuff, and then who knows, you might get put in a situation to where your dream can come true by opening up your own brewery. And I think that's a really cool kind of thing to motivate people who are home brewers to actually have the idea. If you're good at what you do, you're able to make some things happen. And that's what Neil and all the rest of the crew over at WeldWerks did. So let's look at the profile of this one, see what it actually says. So let's see. This is like, well, yeah, one of their namesake kind of gold standard IPAs over there. It seems like, let's see, a new batch of this cloudy soft pour. Definitely getting that. It definitely has like a nice juicy, not really oily mouthfeel. Juicy Bits is uniquely fantastic thanks to WeldWerks' dialed in process of adjusting the water chemistry that results in a pillowy mouthfeel, which I definitely get in this 100%. High protein malts also lend a hand, and by leaving some sugars in the brew instead of allowing them to turn into booze, the tropical citrus character of Mosaic, Citra, and Eldorado hops get amped up even more. So that's really interesting. Instead of letting those sugars kind of ferment a little bit more and turn into alcohol, they left them in there, left them as like those natural sugars to kind of bring out those more natural citrusy flavors in the Mosaic, Citra, and the Eldorado. And then the final result is an intensely hopped, unquestionably smooth beer that reminiscent of a freshly pressed mango pineapple juice, hence the name Juicy Bits. So yeah, really, really cool. I really like the idea of them leaving those natural sugars in there to kind of do their own thing instead of letting them ferment to become booze, to kind of create the alcohol in there, because that's what kind of sugars that when the sugars and the yeast kind of get together. Yeast is always active, so it's always doing stuff. So yeah, I really like that kind of, it brings a little bit more of that hoppier bite to come through for me. Definitely really enjoy the nice citrus notes in there. It's definitely a nice balance between citrusy and hoppy, which is very, very good. And for 6.7%, it's not really boozy at all, and it's intensely smooth. I really am enjoying this one. So let's see what Untappd has to say about this one. So right here in the first little kind of description that Untappd shows, it's their flagship IPA, and they promote it with having huge citrus and tropical fruit notes, and with over 49,166 ratings. This one has an average rating of 4.21 out of 5 on Untappd, which is probably pretty damn incredible if I had to say so myself. With almost 50,000 check-ins and having an average be over a 4 for just like your flagship sessional 6.7 nice hazy juicy IPA. Yeah, they killed it with this one. I can see why it's their flagship beer probably. So let's see what others are saying about this one. See what other opinions we got. So this guy gave it a 4.25 out of 5. We got a 4.5 out of 5. We got a nice 4 out of 5 saying a great summer beer. I can definitely agree. Those citrusy notes definitely come through pretty heavily to make this a nice, really refreshing brew. Let's see. Where some of these guys purchased? So purchased this one at Streets at South Glen, which is a diner in Denver. Okay, so you can get their stuff over in Denver, Colorado. Let's see what else we got there. A place called The Roost. This guy purchased it at, which is another restaurant in Longmont, Colorado. So they're pretty, what I'm starting to see is they're pretty well kind of popular around the state of Colorado. Let's see if this one's Tap 14, which is in Denver. Okay. So yeah, if you're in the Colorado area, you probably can get your hands on this stuff pretty commonly, I would say. If it's their flagship IPA, I would say it's probably a year-round kind of release, because if it's that popular and that many people are drinking it, you have to have a good amount of availability to it. But also, if you want to check that, you can always go on WeldWerks' website. They have the Beer Finder app, kind of thing on their website, so you can check your area, see if they have anything when it comes to how close you are to them. See if anything near you has any WeldWerks brews over there. But let's see. They always what they have the order online. Let's see. Let's see what kind of stuff options they have. Of course, it's a Square site, so you can buy their cans probably for curbside pickup. They also have the juicy bits in the cans if you want to do a curbside pickup situation, or they might ship. No, okay, so it's only pickup only. So if you're in the Colorado area, if you're close to Greeley, you can do a curbside pickup and get your hands on some juicy bits, which is pretty good. It's $4 a can, and so probably $14 for a 4-pack, I would say. That's pretty nice. But let's see what they have on tap at the brewery right now. So if you want to stop in there, have a brew, maybe have, I don't know if they have any food, but it might be one of those situations to where you can get stuff over there. And let's see, locations. It might be under locations. Let's see. Greeley, Colorado. Let's see. Hours to go. See menu. Let's see what their menu looks like. I'm curious. Okay, so what they have on draft right... Okay, so they do have the juicy bits on tap over there right now, so that's a really good option. Let's see, they have another wheat. Let's see what else they have. Any other IPAs? Oh, they have a nice one called Space Tunnel, which is a 6.5%. Let's see, they have an Imperial IPA, Nelson Extra Juicy Bits, so that's probably a Nelson Sauvin, like Imperial IPA. That sounds delicious. If you're into the fruited Berliner Weisses, they have one called Rockets Red Glare. Let's see, a Skip Pass, another Imperial IPA, 10.1%. So if you're looking for something more of a higher ABV, yeah, they have a good selection on tap right now. So if you want to go over there, check out some of their stuff, maybe get a flight, try out some of different options. They have plenty of different varieties when it comes to strong dark ales, Czech beers, Pilsners, IPAs. Fruited Berliner Weisses, fruited sours, you name it. They have all that available. They usually do, I believe they do releases every week on Friday. So if you're looking to see what's possibly coming new to them, you got one day to figure it out. So you might be able to just keep an eye out on their website or keep an eye out for what they post on their social media when it comes to them telling you what the release they're going to be doing is. So that's really cool as well. But let's see. Let's start going down the ratings here. Let me pour the rest of the can into the glass, and let's start going through our ratings on this one. So, can art. This one, to me, is relatively simple. I've never really seen WeldWerks come out and do some really crazy, intricate can art with their stuff. But it's clean, it's classy. Really like the details they put into the background, making sure that they take up a good amount of real estate on the can art, because that's always important. So you got the WeldWerks kind of thing on the bottom, where it's the barrel, kind of the train kind of situation on the bottom. Of course, you got the juicy bits, and then kind of little designs on the top, kind of giving you like the name and all that said dialed in beer on top, and then you got little dials and stuff. But then they kind of take the background to kind of put the hops in the background, that different like shade of white with the orange, which I think is really nice. But it's not too over the top. It's very classy. And it's definitely something that would catch my attention at a liquor store or bottle shop for sure, because the orange colors, the white kind of gives you that creamsicle kind of look. So when you see orange and white together, it would definitely be something that would be a color that pops out if you see it in the cooler. So yeah, really nice, really nice. I'd probably give this like a 3.75 out of 5 for can art. Not bad, but it's not like some of my favorite intricate can art, but I still enjoy it. So let's see. If I got this beer and a flight at WeldWerks, would I get another one? To be honest, probably. I really enjoy this one. I like the nice balance between hoppiness and citrusy, tropical fruit notes. It really brings in the nice kind of... I think it brings forth more of those hoppy flavors as well, so you definitely know you're drinking an IPA. So I'm glad they stuck to the integrity of that. Very nice, refreshing beer. Yeah, I'd definitely get one. I'd probably get a 4-pack of this to bring home as well. It's really nice. Definitely, if I'm looking for a nice kind of sessionable... hazy IPA, this would definitely be on the list for ones to look out for, in my opinion. So if you can get your hands on stuff from WeldWerks, get your hands on some of the juicy bits. I think you won't be disappointed. But what is my final rating on this one going to be? So, if you look on Untappd, average rating of 4.21, I believe it was, out of 5, with over almost 50,000 people rating this one. So, definitely really popular. I can definitely see why after drinking this one. I'd probably give this a 7.75, almost an 8. I think I'm going to go around that 7.75 range. Really nice. I would have liked to see a little bit more of that kind of like mango-y sweetness along mixing with like a nice malty sweetness at the end. Because at the end for me, I still get that kind of hoppy flavor that sticks in my mouth when I've had situations where, like, give examples for the beer I had yesterday where the after notes I had in my mouth were like nice mango malty sweetness that kind of stuck with there, and it was really nice. But this one kind of leaves more of like a hoppier, kind of maybe a slight sweetness at the end for the mouth. But I would have liked to see a little bit more of that mango pop through a little bit more, because I think that would have made it, those juicy flavors come through a little bit more deeper. But overall, very, very nice. Very nice and hoppy. Definitely like the nice citrus notes along with like more of a pineapple flavor. It's definitely a nice change of pace. So yeah, really, really solid. I can definitely see why this is WeldWerks' like namesake hazy IPA for sure. No wonder it's had almost 50,000 people rating this one, because it's delicious. It's delicious. So I think I'm going to give it a solid 7.75. Really, really good. Would definitely recommend it if you're just looking for a nice, sessionable, a little bit more hoppier than usual hazy IPA. But yeah, very, very nice. So I think that's pretty much it for today, guys. I still have, before we get out of here, I still have that link to that GoFundMe that I talked about yesterday. A local brewery of mine got impacted from the tornadoes that were going around last Sunday. They had their entire tap house and most of their brewery practically almost destroyed. The tap house was destroyed, but luckily they were able to save a lot of the equipment and stuff, and they were able to sell out practically because they teamed up with a local brewery to kind of sell some of the stuff they already had canned and in their coolers and all that stuff. So really happy for them with that. But there's a link to the GoFundMe. If you can, we all within the beer industry like to support small businesses and support your local breweries, and this is a brewery that got impacted heavily. I remember seeing something on social media yesterday where they had a shit ton of volunteers come over and help them like take stuff out of there, kind of starting the rebuild process or emptying out the tap house already. So that's really cool to see the community coming together for that. But if you have $1 or $2, if you want to skip your coffee in the morning, and if you want to put it to a good cause, donate it to that GoFundMe. It's a great little thing that people put together. Let's see what I'm curious. Hold on. Let's see what it is at now. I'm curious. Let's do this. So when we checked yesterday, it was at the goal was at 150,000, and they already had it around like 101,000 yesterday, which I think is fantastic. They're pretty damn close to be getting it to reach their goal, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. But let's see how much closer they are now after we've had maybe around 24 hours to go, see if anymore else. So look at that. They're at 115,000 already. So that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Showing a community coming together to help kind of rebuild and help a brewery in need right now, and help for finances and all that stuff, because there's a lot of money that has to go into this for rentals, for trucks and all that stuff, forklifts, helping things get out of the tap house now and helping the rebuild process, feeding the volunteers that are taking the time out of their day to help this brewery get back on their feet. And also they have employees that aren't working right now because the brewery is not open, so they have to help pay those employees during this struggling time. So if you have a couple of bucks, I definitely would recommend, if you want to go to something and help donate to a good cause, help Skeleton Key Brewery get back on their feet. They're a local brewery of mine, and who knows, if somebody shows me that they donated and shoots it to my email, poonsmcnasty@gmail.com, I may have something special for you. Maybe who knows, you might get a random beer come in the mail. Who knows? But might give you a little bit more motivation for that. But other than that, that is pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you again, everybody in chat, for hanging out. You guys are amazing. Make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Also, if you're watching on the replay, put down in the comments below if you're drinking anything while you're watching my stuff. I want to see if anybody's drinking a beer, maybe having a whiskey. I don't care what you're drinking. Just put it down in the comments. I just want to see. I'm curious. If it's a beer that I haven't checked out, I might keep my eye out for it. Maybe pick it up. But other than that, that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are amazing. And since it's Throwdown Thursday, you guys know the tradition by now, what we do over here on Thursdays. So I'm gonna say it before we get out of here and before we do the damn thing. If you're gonna drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I will see you all tomorrow, people. Cheers. Let's do this. See ya.